Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Total War Warhammer 2. We have 2 goals remaining. We've done some fantastic work here, and we're almost done. 2 stumbling blocks. Number 1, Norsca. And it's quite a big problem. There's a lot of Norsca. Maybe not in terms of manpower or armies, but in terms of just like territory. It's going to be a while. It's going to take us some time to do this. The other thing that remains is the securing of this southwestern mountain range. I guess it doesn't actually have to be this mountain range. It could well be that once Norsca's dealt with, we just make friends with these players, or maybe even come up here and take this stuff by force. So we need either this mountain range or the southwestern one. And the southwestern one at least gives us something to do with all those southern armies. So we know what's up, we know where we're going, we know what the plan is. Now it's a matter of figuring out the best execution. I think there's not really much of a reason to leave, to have Guthrie wait here while Grombrindle finishes getting ready. I think Guthrie could just sail out. So in fact, we shall do exactly that. We're just going straight for the longship graveyard. Now I will say this is going to be a little bit awkward because of the fact that all of this is, first of all, unpleasant climate, so we're going to take minus 8% casualty replenishment in all of the regions where we're fighting Norsca. And secondly, like, there's just going to be attrition, basically. We're going to lose a lot of dwarves over time here. So, I don't really want to control most of this territory, but since clearing Norsca out will probably end our game anyway, we probably will take all of their settlements rather than just burning them, just so that we can use their territory as a place to replenish.
I am the White Dwarf.
Alright, so do we want to send Grombrindle out right now? No, right? We probably want to have him park and do a little bit of recruiting and stuff. That said, maybe he needs to do that on this side of the line? I guess we don't have access to good recruitment structures anywhere up here. All he's really going to be able to get is Longbeards. Well, alright. Take a turn parked in here to get some of that good replenishment, and we'll go ahead and replace some of these quarrelers with Longbeards. Actually, we're about to be facing armies that are made up mostly of Norskins. That means that we're probably going to see Marauder cavalry, throwing axes and javelin cavalry. Maybe it is a good idea to just have a ton of quarrelers. This army does still have some Ironbreakers. We have some real rangers. These guys have great weapons. You know what? Maybe this is okay. I'm gonna go ahead and keep them all. We'll get 1 unit of Longbeards to fill the empty slot in the army. But let's try actually approaching this with a very quarreler-heavy army. Alright, Craig's strong arm no longer needs to go to Kofor. The cavalry finally got on it. So I guess the only thing that makes sense now is to head west. We must impress our will upon Clan Pestilence. Make it clear to them that it is not okay for them to just mess with our stuff. Ungrim will follow in 2 turns.
By the king's command.
I don't know what to do with these heroes. I mean, across the ocean, right? That's the thing to do. So I guess the smart version of this is just issue a long order and let them figure it out. Although I suppose this means that we're going to have to watch him move slowly at the end of every one of our turns. What's this guy's deal? He is a level 9. Okay, so that's like a real hero. You should probably kill him if you can. I don't know what he's doing out here, but I know it's not going to be good for us. The brazen and fearless Gotrek Oathkeeper. Yeah, you're still working toward Deadly Onslaught, not that you'll ever need it. This guy is no longer needed to help hunt down chaos, so I guess he also is heading across the ocean? I don't really know what else to do with him. And Vrangni Truai has a lot of ground to cover. The good news is that last time we saw a rebel army, or a rogue army rather, do something like this, it took them, they were content to sit and raid and not really do anything of any value for a very long time. I'm really hoping those guys don't turn on us and attack us on this coming turn. So the Monument of Izatal is not super secure. We should probably try to get walls up around that as quickly as possible. And we don't need this if we have one at the monument. Alright, hard march for Huolotl. Actually, let's pop in and have a chat with these guys. Nope. Okay. Thought it was worth a shot there. I would really like it if they didn't show up and sack the monument to Visital, but we got to get down here so that we can get ready to deal with the mine of bearded skulls. The beard's not part of the skull, right? Like, dwarven skulls aren't still bearded? God, I hope not. That's a really gross idea. Boy. This shouldn't matter, right? I can't imagine. Let's go ahead and, like, it makes more sense to try to get walls up at Eye of the Panther before upgrading Martek, but man, I hope this doesn't matter. Okay, so we need to make this happen here, and do I even want a sparring chamber? Probably not, right? I guess just make money? Because if we have a Hall of Oaths, these are the troops we want to be recruiting. If we're recruiting infantry at all. And then we have this thing. I was going to make us a bunch of Iron Warden's Wardstones, but we still don't have pottery. Where are we on Erengrad being upgraded? 4 turns, man. How is it that we still don't have pottery? That's crazy. Well, you know what? I'm still just gonna wait. We don't really have anything important to build anyway. I don't think that, to be clear, I do not believe that going after Norsca here is going to be an issue of difficulty so much as an issue of just covering the ground. I think that's really going to be the hard part. I'm going to save our money from here then, I guess. We could start recruiting another army in the north. That's probably not necessary. Alright, so you need to be on the march. And we'll just, again here, we'll fill with Longbeards. Just something we can grab in a single turn. We have places to be, unfortunately. Can't really afford to sit around. And we don't have any recruitment structures up here at all. But we can grab Regiment of Renown. Probably it makes sense to grab the Hammerers for these guys. They're a little short on real infantry power. Man, his movement range is a little crazy. So he'll head out that way. He'll be followed by Ulfar Granithand once he finishes recruiting. We'll just have him underway beyond the mountains. And then these two will go on the south coast. It's going to take a little while, but we're going to get it done. Do we have any armies that didn't actually get orders because they were sitting in a settlement? That's the thing I need to make sure that I am being more attentive about, because I have thrown away turns in silly ways. The Empire's declared war on the Dark Elves and all of the Dark Elf minor allies. And so I think the way, if this reporting goes the way I think it does, they declared war on Clan Septic, and then the Vampire Coast and Nagarond were defensive allies with Clan Septic, or maybe military allies, and counter-declared. And that's entirely blamed on the Empire. The Empire is seen as the aggressive party in all of those. Which is, yeah, that's fair. I like that, though. The Empire being at war with Nagarond, I think, reduces the likelihood that they're going to turn on us, because that's a war they're going to have their hands full with. If we waited long enough, pretty much all of the what you might describe as traditionally the good guy forces will end up at each other's throats. This is why it is important to wrap up this Norsca thing as quickly as possible. Absolutely not. This is not a time for military alliances. The funny thing is, I don't even really think it's in the code that everybody has to end up at each other's throats. Like, we all gained the aggressive and untrustworthy traits. I say we all. All of the AI quote-unquote players gained the aggressive and untrustworthy traits. But it's not like they're coded to turn on each other beyond that. It's just that, power blocks have formed and somebody's going to declare war on somebody, and that's going to bring in a bunch of defensive allies, and then That's going to cause a bunch of people who did trust each other now to dislike each other because they're not supporting the same side in that war, and then that's going to lead to another conflict, and you get this domino effect of distrust, rippling out over the world. I've seen it many times. So it behooves us to end this game as quickly as we can. Looks like we're not the only ones thinking that the continent to the west needs a little attention. I suppose it does make a kind of sense that once all the big grudges of the current war are settled, the dwarves would turn on the Skaven. There's an age-old problem there that needs to be resolved. A thing that someone started that nobody ever had the time to finish. Well, it turns out now, all we have is time. Wow. Tilia's actually making, like, real headway. If Bretonnia keeps pressuring from the north... Well, I guess Bretonia's pressuring from the south now, aren't they? I was gonna say, if they can keep the Wood Elf armies divided, they might actually be able to make some lasting progress here. If they all come in from the same side, they're gonna have to worry about getting overwhelmed.
You're not welcome, so I won't pretend otherwise.
Hey, we can't help but notice you have an army on our border. And I was thinking maybe peace? Obviously you'll have to pay us for it. Get out of here with that. I like that, though. Them telling us that we have to pay is a real confidence move. Maybe if I act like I'm more powerful, they'll think I am more powerful and they'll want peace. I like where your head's at, Varg guy. Who's the Varg? I don't know who's in charge of the Varg. Oh, hey. Rat poison causes fear when fighting against Skaven for all characters is actually kind of interesting. It's probably not worth the research time to get all the way over here. Let us instead continue to improve our ranged units.
Let us begin.
Okay, so we don't actually know where Norsca's armies are. We know that they have a non-zero amount of army now. But we don't know exactly where that is.
Move. Moving.
Norscan settlements, even if they have a full defensive garrison building, never have walls. The Norscans live in tent cities on the plain. So that should make it... That's another thing that contributes to it being relatively easy to take out a Norscan nation. Where is the edge of his movement range? Goes up the coast here, and then is the edge of it lost in the... Can't tell where I am and am not allowed to move. Oh, you know what? This whole area here is impassable. I think was part of the problem. That's fine. We can jump all the way over to the altar of spawns next turn. I don't think we'll bother to grab that. May as well help ourselves to this giant skull reef. Hey, look at that. The Horde of the Vampire Admiral. This skull-shaped lair lying ominously on the horizon could only be the hidden horde of Count Noctilus, the legendary vampire admiral who was the scourge of the seas in his great vessel the Bloody Reaver. Legend has it that Noctilus's treasure is hidden upon the great ocean and guarded by zombie crewmates damned to protect it for all of eternity. That is, until your fleet chances upon the lair. Let me tell you something about zombies and skeletons. We are fantastic at fighting them. Nobody has ever had the level of experience that we have.
I'm leaving.
Okay, we are going to take some damage here as we cross the open ocean. I'm excited about the Vampire Coast. The General Noctilus and like these guys here. This is the Vampire Coast, I believe. Yeah. My understanding is that in the fluff, in the lore, they're basically an entire faction of vampire pirates, and so they have kind of similar units to the normal Vampire Counts faction, except that they're real swashbuckly and they get gunpowder. They get like guns. That sounds so cool. A bunch of pirates and a bunch of vampires and zombies and stuff with blunderbusses swinging from the rigging. Like, man, please, 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 Creative Assembly, come out with that faction. I want to play that very badly. Alright, you may as well just get a move on.
How can I help?
This is our sea region, or at least partially our sea region. It is shared between Erengrad and Norden and Bay of Blades, and fortunately all those people are friendly to us. So, we still get replenishment here. We're not going to be totally at full.
The throng is mustered.
We're probably sub 50% on this guy? No, we are not. Okay, he's much lower level, that's why. Well, yeah, okay, go ahead and take a crack at him. Let's try to remove all of their agents from the map.
One honor.
Yeah, Dwinbar, Ranulfson, I don't know, get over here. Ask me for orders again once you've pulled that off.
I'll get on it.
Okay, with them standing as close as they are to Berg de Wazpeg, they're dead. Let's be honest. Speaking of, I suppose there's no reason that we shouldn't finish upgrading the Great Hall, especially given that, again, you know, the other nations of the world are going to become a little unpredictable. We may as well cap off some of our defensive structures as well, and then what else could we build here? What else might we actually need? I suppose a Hall of Oaths makes some sense. Oh no, wait, we don't have an anvil. We wouldn't be able to make the good stuff at our Hall of Oaths either. We should probably make the anvil so that we can make the good stuff out of our foundry. Maybe we will end up dropping... Actually, we should probably drop this for a hall. Upgrade our settlements that are bordering other players a little bit here. Okay, Lashiek is likely to come under attack if the Tomb Kings were to turn on us. The Tomb Kings and Kislev, I think, are the ones least likely to. Just owing to how much we've done for them. So we don't have any idea where that army went. Alright, I'm going to try a little something. We're going to step just a little bit outside of the settlement in ambush mode. See if we can get them to bite on thinking this settlement is unprotected. We can't build a defensive structure because I spent all the money. We should unspend some of that money. Let's undo one of the things in Berikvar. Okay, we'll unbuild the anvil for a moment here. It's actually pretty important that we get this fortified. Yeah, that adds a lot of units to that garrison. 8 additional units. Alright, still not doing that. And everybody has actually taken their turn if they can. Alright, Thorgard Bear's Keeper has standing orders. Alright. So we're going to sweep through the first couple of Norscan settlements very easily. But at some point, their armies are going to respond to what we're doing. And they clearly do not have as many armies as we do. They're represented as being much weaker than we are. But it only takes 2 of their stacks working in concert to be a danger to us. So we do have to be a little bit cautious up there. Probably... still no. Probably Guthrie doesn't go any further than the settlement that he's next to until Grombrindle arrives, although we may not even be talking about him actually having to wait. Grombrindle will probably catch up during this turn where we will not be able to move after taking over that settlement. The north side's a little bit more of a concern. Thorgrim and his backup army are considerably further apart. We'll see what happens. Oh man, Bretonnia completely abandoning Tilia at the first sign of danger. Also, that is a Khemri army. Why are they marching so far north? Who are they at war with? Are the Khemri at war with the Wood Elves as well? The Wood Elves did trigger a big chain of declarations when they declared on whoever it was that they declared on. Maybe the Khemri are coming up there to help wipe them out. That'd be weird. Tomb Kings and Athaloran. Well, I mean, it's sort of none of my business. I saw my way out of that conflict. Whatever's gonna happen is what's gonna happen. I am curious, though. We could probably be running these turns in fast forward mode, I guess, which would not show us any armies that aren't doing things that are directly relevant to us. But I'm curious. I'm curious what is going on in the AI's minds. Khemri has a huge territory to administer, and there's still a couple of empty settlements, right? Like this area down here where the gemstone mine is, they still haven't filled it in. It seems very odd to me. And it kind of makes me nervous. I don't like the fact that there could be Skaven, or like Skaven could show up and settle those and nobody would be the wiser. We do still have a couple of quest battles to go, don't we? I'll do the quest battles before we end the campaign. I don't actually want the items from them. They're not valuable to us at all. But we may as well, because they might be cool fights. Tilia is really committing to this. Alright, coming up here in a second, I'm a little concerned about the Blue Vipers. Do they actually have any armies nearby? They're not much of a long-term threat to us, but if they harass the Monument of Izatal before we're ready to defend it, it could be a real problem. So that's not even a full stack. It won't be hard to defend it if we move our army back to it, but I really don't want to have to do that. Here comes Sirtha Ak with his chariots and also his mammoth. And also there's a Chaos Rebellion. I bet for the Tilians that's red territory. Like, I bet their people are really, really miserable there. Okay, yeah, we can actually even move Grombrindal up into reinforcement range here. It will not take us 40 units to wipe out this tiny little settlement. Yeah, there's absolutely no reason to manual that. Like I said, we're just going to occupy territory so that it's our territory so that we can replenish in it. Obviously, we can't replenish in it if we're also taking attrition, but any army that's moving around in underway stance will at least get the replenishment. After all this time, Guthrie is this close to being immortal. Boy, what if we lost him now?
The dwarfs need me.
Also, I can't believe how many levels came out of that. Given what a completely trivial battle it was, you would think there wouldn't be anything to learn here. Okay, so we have all our yellow line stuff. We have Relentless. Boy. Cleanse Corruption. I guess. We're never going to get these areas to be not meaningfully chaos corrupted, so... Also, the game won't last long enough for that to happen anyway. I'm going to get myself in trouble underway stancing myself into completely unseen areas. That is the kind of thing I should have heroes running around up here for, giving us a little bit of foresight. Crag Strongarm just needs to get across the ocean as fast as possible. I think we want to land like down here, where we can start threatening Skaven settlements. My goal here is to make the Skaven fear for their lives. We want them to stop fighting us because they think if they don't stop fighting us, they'll die. Because that needs to be true. Also, the Hunters of Kurnus, we can't stand for this nonsense.
I'm going.
Boy, elves are fast. I'm going to...
I suppose so.
move to Varenka Hills. Varg de Wazbeg doesn't have walls, but it does have a 13-unit garrison, and if he tries to attack it, I think he will lose. Alright, Ulfar Granite Hand is gonna need for Thorgrim to slow down a little bit if he's gonna catch up. Yeah, this is definitely a place where we could get into trouble. If I separate these armies by too much, I could get Thorgrim into a real dangerous position. Sure. Fort Ostrosk gets upgraded. This should also be upgraded, probably. Actually, hold on. Before we spend any money upgrading anything, let's pop down here and see... Okay. There is no other movement available here. What about down here? This should get upgraded. I don't think there's a reason to upgrade the anvil to level 5, but this anvil should definitely be level 4. And at Lashiek, we're going to need, well, I guess next turn we're going to need some walls.
I grow restless.
Moving.
Okay, and Ungrim and Crag aren't too far apart. I'm a little worried about Crag leading the charge here, what with him not being level 20 yet. That could be bad. That could turn out in a way that I would not be super happy about. See, I'll hit fast forward here. It won't zoom the camera around and show us everybody's moves. I do wish you could do it on your own unit's moves. I know what I told him to do. But yeah, basically we just need to make life a living hell for Pestilens until they decide that it's not smart to be at war with us anymore. And honestly, I think if we keep Ungrim and Crag's armies together, they're going to be hard to beat. Alright, yeah, we don't need to watch every single thing that happens. Although, if Volkmar wants to run over here and start taking Norscan stuff, that would actually be fantastic for us. Maybe we should head north into the middle area between the mountains instead of along the coast to give the Empire the chance to come out here and help us. Okay, Norsca actually is currently showing us having no armies. They had something going. They must have lost it in a foolish attack on the Empire or something. Well, this would seem to be a good moment to maybe hit Ice Drake Forge. Or Ford. We'll do that and then go north into the valley between the mountains. And give Volkmar the chance to go out and claim Pack Ice Bay. Because if we can break the armies that they're recruiting now, it's going to take them a couple more turns than it would normally to actually field anything, and by then it might be too late, honestly. Our long list of objectives is breathing down their neck. It does seem a little unnecessary to wipe them out. They've done absolutely nothing to us. Wintertooth was on our objective list, but also they extremely had it coming. I don't think we've had any interaction with the main Norscan faction at all. Still, I assume they did something to us. Their name's in the book, so... Dwarves can get quite old, and eventually, memory becomes an issue. Yeah, alright. We're gonna need more armies to hold this mountain range. I didn't want to move, what's-his-face, because I want to make sure that we're holding the main settlement in this province. But yeah, we're gonna have to get some more bodies over here. If the orcs are gonna constantly harass us from one side and the Skaven from the other. Okay, well the auto-resolve bar is looking pretty unfavorable to us, but I'm not 100% sure why. This looks like it should be a victory to me. So let's make sure it is. And once this guy's done, I don't know what I'm going to do with this army that's down here. Because we don't really need 15 units over here in our backfield. But they're too far away from everything else that's going on in the world to contribute, probably. Right, they would hit the north probably like 6 or 7 turns from now. And I bet it's even longer for them to get to Lustria. So I'm not really sure what plan we could possibly have with them.
We demand blood!
Alright, so we have here a pretty missile weapon heavy force. They do have some Wildwood Rangers and some War Dancers with spears. I think War Dancers are not very armored, but they have 20% physical resistance to make up for it, which is pretty cool. Also, they dance a lot while fighting, which is... I don't know, that doesn't seem that relevant, really. They had some melee cavalry and some missile cavalry. Yeah, I don't know, maybe we're gonna lose this, but it seems like we shouldn't. The cavalry is probably the greatest danger here.
Thane! Goods thrower!
So you guys can just focus on,
Stop!
I don't know, them. Actually, you know what? We should probably focus the catapults on the ranged units. It may be the case that Elven ranged have... Yeah, they're gonna... I think they're gonna be able to shoot us before we can shoot them. Maybe. It's close.
Warriors! No! For the ancestor gods!
They do have fancy magic projectiles. I'll say that. That's pretty cool.
Ready!
But it doesn't really seem like they're up to the task of receiving missile fire. Yeah, we seem to be pretty clearly winning this exchange, especially if they're just going to focus their ranged attacks on our miners, who are relatively unimportant to our strategy. And also, it was weird for the rest of their units to, like, wait patiently until we had routed all of their ranged before contributing to the battle. But those guys permanently broke already. That's pretty cool. Alright, let's, move up here a little bit. Because the conflict has reshaped a little. I will say that I'm not too worried about losing control of... I'm not too worried about losing control of the catapult. Like, if the catapult dies, the catapult dies. It's kind of not the end of the world. Because this is a settlement garrison, not a real army. And as such, we'll get all of the lost troops back for free at some point. Just be a couple of turns of replenishment, even if the unit is actually all the way wiped out. It's not to be callous, but that makes it kind of hard to care. Come on, do enough damage to permanently break them? Nope, not quite. Well, actually, we're still hitting them. You can see these those archers thought about coming back in. Okay, it does seem like we're losing pretty badly over here. These Wild Riders are, I think, pretty elite troops. Yep, okay, keep working on them.
Ready to strike! Warriors!
I mean, I think this should go okay. Now that we've got the flanks going and everything, are you guys obeying your shift queued orders? You're totally not. You saw it though, I tried to do it. They ran into position and then just sat there. Catapults are still firing at those guys. They do have Thelendor Doomstar over there. Just shooting his crazy arrows at us. I assume his stats are pretty good. Yeah, like 400 missile damage, 190 range. He doesn't have a lot of ammo. Yeah, this is. I mean, this has got to be ending soon, right? They can't possibly want to keep fighting. I don't know how the balance of power bar had this going in the enemy's favor. It's probably just overvaluing their missile troops. It's like, well, the elf missile troops are better than the dwarven ones, so they'll win the missile part of the battle. But it doesn't, like... It doesn't consider how the battle will actually go. To be clear, like, the auto-resolve is not simulating a battle. It's just doing some math. It has a couple of formulas that it runs against the armies and then compares the scores. At least that's my understanding. So things like the way a superior volume of missile fire abbreviates the enemy's ability to fire missiles back don't really get factored in. And that's how you see things like a single unit of Night Goblins getting 225 kills. Although, to be perfectly honest, it's maybe not the entire story there, because I would really love to see that math. I would have loved to have been able to double check that. Even so, with like the overwhelming odds in our favor, look at that. 103 kills on one of those glaive infantry units. Wood Elf forces are not a joke. This is part of what makes it dangerous that the Wood Elves are so weirdly aggressive, is that their armies are actually terrifying. think I'd rather fight high elves any day. I guess a leadership bonus for the garrison probably doesn't really do much. But also, there's no point in upping the replenishment, or messing with the replenishment output of the garrison or getting any gold, because it's going to be a tiny amount of gold, and frankly, we don't really need all the gold we have now. There are bray herds. Okay, not my problem. Grombrundle has also gone mad. There's a lot of that going around. Listen, it's fine. It's not a big deal. So... okay, we almost have our extra garrison building here, at which point I will feel safe leaving the neighborhood of Hualatl.
Slayer in me seeks death. Beards in belts, armed and ready.
We've discovered a rune of fury and... okay, some more some more gold. Great. The mist part to reveal an island uncharted by even the great map right. High spars of rock jut from ocean like spikes in a trap that has ensnared some prey. A wrecked ship lies impaled on the small island's coastline. Its crew seem to have moved into the interior along with any valuables that may have been on board. Your ship wisely drops anchor far offshore before the crew make landfall in search of treasure. Okay, well, free stuff for us.
Heading out.
Yeah, we gotta get out of this deep water.
The white dwarf.
So, if we go to normal movement, we can't quite threaten those guys. Is that true for Guthrie's army as well? Actually, it looks like Guthrie could. So Ice Drake Fjord has an 18-unit garrison. They have a fully upgraded defensive thing. Alright.
Aye.
Here's what we probably want to do then.
Aye, I'll see it done.
Let's set you into... our territory runs all the way over to here, is that right? Yeah, so we'll move these two armies together in underway stance.
Grudges will be settled. It is time. Roman? Yes.
This will give Grombrundle time to replenish, and then we'll just hit this. We'll hit Ice Drake Fjord hard next turn. We are probably not going to be able to hold this, really. You can see we can't even build walls out here, because what would you set them on? This is not... there's nowhere to put foundations. We don't need to hold the territory for long.
Good. Grimnir's axe third.
Okay, hold on a second. Where's my...
What's your orders?
right here? I'm not going to be able to see over the mountain range, no matter how I do this, I guess.
Got then.
And we don't actually have to kill the Varg. Maybe the right play is to move to this side of the mountains. Yeah, alright.
Retake the realms. Move in.
That will hopefully make it a little bit easier for this guy to catch up as well. If he was in march mode, okay, he would move slightly further. I'll go ahead and take a hit for a turn to try to catch up. Okay, Vragni should be able to wrap up this fight. I can't imagine these guys are going to be able to put up anything. Yeah. Only 3 of their units remain. So we're done with him, and hey look, Armor of Destiny. That's fine.
Can I help you?
What were you doing? Right, of course. You're a Rune Lord. You were doing Rune Lord stuff.
Onward.
See, I don't know, maybe like he just goes and sits in Dak Karaz, which is a place from which he can respond to attacks on Barak Var and also to attacks on Ekrund. Yeah, maybe. Also, look at that auto-resolve, doing all of the damage. None of our units took any damage except for the flame cannons. What must that battle have looked like for that to be the case? So are there any important moves that need to be made over here? Upgrading this to 5 would give us 1 more global recruitment capacity, but that doesn't actually matter. I suppose we should probably get those started. And then over here, we're waiting on population for everything else. Yeah, we just don't really need gold that badly anymore. Is there anything else of import that needs doing? Dullard Steelbeard is staying right where he is. Thorgard Bear's Keeper. Yeah, we have a lot of guys who have orders already. Yeah, I guess there's no reason not to upgrade money-producing buildings. And where are we at on Hualadl's... Oh, wow. Okay. I was going to say how long until Hualadl gets to grow again, but apparently it's going to be a minute. Well, I think our armies in the ocean are probably going to make landfall within the next 2 turns. So we can start threatening the Skaven then. Remember, we can't go for peace until after we've made sure that the Mine of Bearded Skulls is back in our possession, because it's almost certainly theirs now. I know it looks like they burned it, but Skaven, you know. We can hit fast forward here, and it should, from this point, I believe, only show us movement that happens... It might be only moving enemy armies, or maybe only armies that move within provinces that we control some of the regions of, or I don't know exactly how it works, but it doesn't show us most of the stuff we don't actually need to see. We can see that the battle for Athel-Loren isn't really going anywhere right now. It's still all Wood Elf colored. We also can see that there's some weird stuff happening here on the Bretonnian coast. Why are there so many empty regions? Like, I can see the Bretonnians losing regions, but I can't imagine what would cause them not to take them back. Also, why are the Lore Masters and Hexawatl losing troops so quickly? Something terrifying is happening over there. It might just be Nagarond. In fact, the Order of Lore Masters losing troops is definitely Nagarond, right? Because there's all this fighting happening over here on Ulthuan.
Urks, talk fast, for you are my enemy.
Okay, this is encouraging. He wants peace. So we are definitely going to get aggressive with him on the Mine of Bearded Skulls. See if we can take that back, and then secure a peace treaty. And unfortunately, Volkmar the Grim is headed toward Icedrake Fjord instead of going to somewhere where he could be of some assistance. Because he's still in the water here, he won't be able to participate in the battle, and we certainly aren't going to wait an extra turn to give him a chance to show up to the battle, because, I mean, we all know there's a really good chance that he won't, even if we give him the opportunity. Dude just has crappy planning. He's not thinking ahead. Alright, Servants to Chaos are destroyed, and I believe that's the last of the Chaos event factions. So, that's cool.
Grow restless. Seek our doom.
I'm off.
This is actually friendly territory, right? Well, it's contested territory, I guess. Yeah, because some of the ports here are controlled by the Vampire Coast. Alright, well, we'll have to make landfall and use encampment stance to get our replenishment then. Alright, so they have Melek Mammoth Rider and 4 mystery units. Somehow we can't see them despite the fact that we are inches away.
A step too far.
Bjark Diovig with a mammoth and some skin wolves. And yeah, some pretty scary stuff. The settlement garrison here is a feral mammoth, ice trolls, Famir. It is largely marauders, but there's some good stuff here. So I mean, there's no version of this where we don't just attack, right? I don't think that makes any sense.
It is time.
And Thorgrim's army is leveling up. I think this army should be able to reach those guys. It's not terribly important that we do this, but I just don't want a Varg army massing up behind us as we push forward.
Ready access.
Alright, and we don't, I think, need to manual this. We're about to manual a great big Norscan battle. And this is pretty much just going to be we watch as they approach and shoot them a lot.
Wipe out the trespassers.
Alright, occupy this terrible garbage settlement.
Send me to vengeance.
It is merely a place to refuel. Armor, I guess? I don't know. You're long out of meaningful points.
My anger burns bright.
Yep, still faster to full sprint. And then next turn we can underway move into territory that we now control, so we'll get replenishment again. In fact, he's probably going right to the Doomkeep next turn, so we'll control a whole lot more territory over here. So we should keep an eye on what's going on to our west. We should maybe see if the Varg will take peace.
Looking forward to this. Prepare to be ripped to shreds.
They will. Here's the question. Do we want to jump up north and just wipe them out instead? It'll add a little bit of travel time to the thing we're doing, but it's probably the case, like I said, that these armies are going to kill here and then move north. I'm going to try to let the Empire have this, because either way we're going to have to do some backtracking. There's really no way of doing this cleanly in a single pass. So yeah, we're probably going to end up here anyway. Never mind, we'll just wipe them out. Alright.
You have my axe.
Are we... Wait, does Grombrindle have Lightning Strike? He does, okay. So the first thing that happens is Grombrindle Lightning Strikes Melek Mammoth Rider. We don't really need to manual this, but... Am I going to anyway just to show you all a mammoth? I guess we're about to fight him. We're about to fight a force that's going to contain some mammoths. Never mind. We'll auto-resolve this part. Because this would be that's a completely foregone conclusion. In fact, we may have lost more troops doing it that way than we would have done manually. Alright, now let's do the thing. I think we want Guthrie to lead the charge here. Alright, let's string him. This is something we could auto-resolve, but we will manual. You know, it's fun to see the battles, but that is somewhat offset by the fact that our time on this earth is limited. The little battles that are like 100% going in our favor, they're fun to watch if we have some kind of cool troops going on, or if we think like there'll be interesting tactics. But we don't really need to watch a bunch of guys march toward our artillery over and over and over again. Okay, so we have our reinforcements coming in from behind them, which is actually fine, I think. You know what? Coming in from behind them is fine. Coming in from behind them here sucks, because of the abbreviated sightline. So we might have to do some, like, forward marching.
Barracks ready.
In fact, yeah, this whole lumpy terrain thing is crappy. I think it was Napoleon once who said, "Damn, I hate fighting on lumpy terrain." He said it in French. When you translate it, it loses some of the poetry. But you know what I mean. You know where I'm coming from here. So I'm thinking if we are thinking about advancing on them immediately, I guess it makes sense to line up our melee troops along the front wall here. If they come toward us, then we'll do this like more of a normal battle. Let them come to us, move our troops in behind them and stuff. If they turn around and try to fight the reinforcement army, we're gonna rush them. It looks like they are turning around to fight the reinforcement army. So you guys should focus on Marauder champions if there are any. And if not, I guess just trolls, because trolls are scary. And everybody except the artillery, advance on them. We'll manually stop the archers when they look like they are at arching range. We do have a lot of iron breakers here. Like, this is going to be This is going to be tough. And actually, our troops are going to enter the battle in a pretty reasonable formation, I think. Okay. So a lot of these guys have changed their minds. Have decided that they are just fine moving toward us after all. So the Marauder Hunters pose maybe a problem. Obviously, the Mammoth is a big deal. So this is a War Mammoth. Not just a Mammoth, but also it has a platform on its back with guys who are going to provide buffs, I think, to the enemy army. They play in the drums up here or something. I don't know. It doesn't actually say that they have an aura. But they also have javelin throwers on the back. Javelin throwers that are particularly good against large. Like, War Mammoths are actually really good at fighting other monsters. Kind of wasted on us. So, we need to reevaluate our plan here. Well, I guess let's start with the range. Let's have the range stop moving forward. I'm going to focus up on... this Mammoth is armored. The Mammoth that's not armored is way over here. That's inconvenient. Well, we gotta do something here. Okay. The organ guns have to refocus on the Mammoth. Do the organ guns have a bonus versus large or anything? They don't. Okay, that's fine. That's fine, they'll get the job done. The melee actually I'm just going to let continue to advance, and we'll focus the quarrelers on the trolls now that the trolls are not taking organ gunfire. Yeah, everybody else in, and that means that now you guys, instead of patiently waiting, are advancing aggressively, although not in any kind of real formation, strangely. Did you see that? When I was trying to move them in formation, they were in a very different shape than they actually are here. And I'm going to turn off guard for all these units, this whole army. Okay, cavalry can't quite seem to figure out what their plan is. Alright, so the ice trolls are already in trouble. The time has come for the summoning. The ritual summoning of the ancestor. Giant Slayers went way further forward than everybody else. Maybe not the best thing they've ever done. Actually, you guys should, like, come back here where this mammoth is, because it's very clearly going for the artillery. Alright, the good news is this mammoth is tough, but not actually armored. Only 30 natural armor, so hopefully we can get some good damage in on him. We do have a unit of Fimir warriors. I don't know if you've ever seen a Fimir before, but they're like weird Cyclops lizard guys. And their stats are actually pretty scary, and in fact, they are not just armor piercing, but armor sundering. They lower our armor for all of the rest of the enemy troops. So the unit that's engaged with these guys, we have to be careful about it not getting torn up by marauders that ordinarily would not really be able to do anything against it. Okay, we're getting some decent leadership damage in on the mammoth at least. Are Fimir large? They are, okay. The Giant Slayers should do some okay damage there. We're having a ranged weapon fight, grenades versus axes. Turns out grenades are winning. Who could have thought? Who might have predicted? The Ancestor is, yeah, out here doing work. Try to hack your way through some of those guys to those guys over there. But I think I'm debating about pulling Guthrie off of this front. Like we absolutely have to commit more guys here. They have a lot of bodies on this side. But I wonder if it might be a good idea to pull him back, because I think we're probably still a little short-handed. These are bad troops, but we're still a little short-handed. Well, I guess this is the direction the reinforcements are coming in from. Okay. That settles it, I think. Guthrie needs to get over here. These guys can stay engaged. The Giant Slayers can flank around here and get something done. And all of these ranged. So I have them currently targeting the Marauder Horsemen, but you know what? If you can do damage to these Skin Wolves, that would probably be ideal. Skin Wolves are kind of terrifying wolfmen monster creatures. They do a lot of damage. They're armor piercing. They have Frenzy and Regeneration. Frenzy, in case you don't remember, is a significant stat boost as long as their leadership is high, but what they do not have is Clothing. So, Quarrelers and also, you know, general shaming tactics, I think, will be put to use here. Okay, we gotta move another unit of Quarrelers in, turn off guard mode, and the Gyrocopter has shown up. That was nice of it. It needs to just get generally over here. Honestly, I have no idea what the battlefield's gonna look like by the time you get there. Alright, lots of pausing going on because there's a lot of battle happening over a large area. Alright, their mammoth is rampaged, but it's getting torn apart by the giant slayers and the organ guns. Alright. Also, the armor sundering is mostly happening on our troops who don't have any armor in the first place, so that's cool. Let's try to take out these Norscan warhounds before they're able to do any more damage. Alright, stand your ground, everybody. Goat tree's coming through. Those guys have almost given up, and once they do give up, we can turn this unit of iron breakers. Start throwing grenades at somebody else. Right, the Famir are getting absolutely torn apart. Oh, hey, there's chariots. That's right. Chariots, all up in my artillery. That's a shame, because this artillery unit actually does have to survive. Like, we need these guys. Yeah, do that. Everybody's showing up. The Skin Wolves are taking a huge amount of damage. That's good for us. Yeah, we just have so much... we have so much ranged coming in over the hill. A relic of accidentally good army design here. This is... It turns out exactly what we want in a defending force. Okay, the gyrocopters need to just get in and drop bombs.
Charge!
Actually, do we want to? Yeah, I'm going to drop bombs through the hunters here.
Yes, Lord. We are relentless.
Let's try to get rid of those guys because those guys have armor-piercing projectiles that could be a real problem for us. Chariots are taking some damage. We're gonna lose some organ guns. That's happening. Alright, somehow this mammoth has regained its nerve. Okay. I think we're putting it together. You guys have to focus. You know, if they're gonna focus on get back on your guns and then attack these guys. I was thinking we could just blow up the artillery with the organ guns that are not being targeted. Okay, having some people who are remarkably reluctant to follow their orders. Okay, there's the break. Yeah, I mean, this was wrapping up, and as soon as it did, all of these ranged troops were going to come over here and flatten out the backside of that battle. Yeah, you know, it's possible that that I've accidentally done a clever thing here. Grombrendel's army being made up entirely of ranged troops means that as a reinforcement army, it is absolutely terrifying. I suppose that the Norskins could have broken some of their cavalry force off to blunt our attack, and in that case, I would probably wish that I had actual ground troops. But, you know, we have like 4 units of iron breakers or something in that army. That's enough to receive a charge, provided that I'm paying enough attention to see the charge coming before it happens, that is. See, that was a pretty good battle. We didn't even actually lose any units of Giant Slayers. So a turn or two of sitting in our newly taken settlement will get Guthrie back in fighting shape, and we are ready to really keep putting the pressure on.
For the wisdom of Valea.
Those guys would need 4 turns to fully replenish. We probably will not wait for fully replenished.
I'll see it done.
Grombrindle will be ready to move next turn. Yeah, we're making faster progress than I thought. Alright, reload time reduction for artillery is awesome. Yeah, this is definitely the way we want to go. So, have all of our armies done stuff? Grombrindle is good. Everybody else has moved.
I'm done ready.
Wrong needs True Eye and needs to actually get to Duck Karaz, where we are going to have him guard the south from. The Warden of the South, with his flame cannons and his gyrocopter. Yeah, we should probably upgrade Krakadrak. I think that makes sense to do. And then we actually have quite a lot of money. Oh, you know who hasn't done anything this turn is Dalid Steelbeard. And we have a proper wall around Hualadal now. Oh, are these guys... Hold on, are these guys close enough for me to get a real attack off on? I think they are. Yeah, they're in garrison range and they're marched, so they can't run. Let's do some damage, shall we? Their army is largely composed of plague monks, so as long as we don't let them melee us for extended periods of time, we should be okay. Warp lightning cannons are going to be a problem. Lord Scroll himself is a danger. He's got some powerful magic. I got some powerful magic of my own, though. Well, explosives. Magic often explodes, that's been my experience with it, so the two things are, they're fundamentally pretty similar. And we totally could have auto-resolved this, and I suspect auto-resolving this would result in a better outcome than doing it manually, but also, it's cool to fight Skaven. We haven't gotten to fight Skaven all that much. We have to remember, I keep this in my head, somebody needs to be in position to help the artillery against the units of clan rats that are going to get spawned in the artillery. We could just leave a unit of hammerers back to do that or something. It just has to be somebody that's going to put the unit down quickly. And the garrison is going to enter from the rear, which is fine. I don't think it matters at all. So they've got their artillery set up over here. These warp lightning cannons are really, really dangerous. We have to care about that quite a bit. So the grudge throwers, like we can move the organ guns to here. Like this maybe. How's that hill? They might have clean line of sight. No, they definitely don't. Never mind. I would like for them to shoot the warp lightning gun crews, but we might not be able to do that here. This terrain actually works out really well for them. So, do we put them a little more central? And we have more of a shot here. We're not going to be in range, though. But we can start the battle by just moving forward a little bit. And the catapults... Catapults can kind of go wherever. Don't need line of sight to do their thing. I'm not going to try to do anything fancy with the Bugman's Rangers.
Iron breakers. For the Karazhan.
Okay, so we don't actually have to be careful with the hammerers, do we? I'm so used to our damage units being really fragile, but hammerers have a ton of armor and are ready to just stand up against stuff.
For the ancestor gods.
Yeah, this will be fine. And then we have lords in forward positions. We actually have a fighting thing here, which is something we haven't had in quite a while. Okay, so, first things first. Organ guns. Because there's not really a lot of storm vermin here, I don't think the organ guns have anything else important to do. Skrulk himself doesn't even get a mount, so he's going to have to walk over to us to do his magic, which is good. Don't they have two? Oh, they have 2 warp lightning cannons. Let's start the organ gunners on the warp lightning cannons. It would be really great if we could kill those crews. And the catapults just need to hit plague monks. There is a unit of sensor bearers over here. I'm not going to use the catapults on them because they're way out to the side. And I like firing into the center of the enemy formation where possible. Try to take maximal advantage of misses. Yeah, and we don't have to be careful at all with the garrison army. We can just be crazy aggressive with them because they do not need to be sustained for later. They will regenerate very quickly. We're already in ranger attack range. Oh, really? Interesting. Those clan rats are considerably further forward than I would have predicted. Alright, it's about time for the grenades to come out. I don't know that focusing on Lord Skrulk is really the right play here. Although we also don't need to worry about the clan rats that much. What is that sound? What on earth is happening over here that is making that noise? I think they have a unit of clan rats starting to emerge underneath us, and for some reason it's playing the ground break noise over and over and over. Let's start throwing some grenades out here. You guys need to... Honestly, Bugman's Rangers are good enough melee combatants that this is not... It's not super crazy for one of them to hold the Plague Monks while the others start to focus in on the other ranged. I do think that our Rangers are going to need the Hammerers to run forward, though. Probably should have done this earlier. He got all distracted by the fact that my grenade throwers were already in place. And I'm just going to have this guy run forward and smack Lord Skrulk upside the head. I don't think... He's a powerful lord. I don't think he has any melee stats at all. Probably not a big surprise. Let's get the catapults out of the jungle so that they will actually do some damage. And I'm going to have one unit of Dwarf Warriors head for that. The Warp Lightning Cannons that we were firing at with the lightning guns are all the way wiped out, which is awesome. Everybody who isn't those Dwarf Warriors just needs to run forward as fast as you can. Alright, they're using a Doom Wheel to flank us, which is not the most terrifying thing I've ever seen. Honestly, I was very unimpressed with the Doom Wheel when I saw it in action during our Skaven Let's Play. We put some shots into this, the one unit of Storm Vermin that there actually is here, and then... What am I going to do with these other guys? Like, what? There's not really anything else dangerous. I guess you also shoot at the Storm Vermin?
Give me vengeance!
Charge bonus for everybody. Some of these dwarves are actually charging into combat.
Come together, lads! This is an order!
Here we go. Deadly Onslaught. Show him who's boss. We're still enduring a little bit more ranged fire than I would like. A little bit more artillery fire than I would like. And they're getting to summon their Skaven underground reinforcement units a lot more frequently than I would like as well.
Lord of Clan Morgrim, I am ready.
I roll up here and show these Plague Monks who's boss. Looks like the Storm Vermin got shredded pretty badly there. In fact, this whole force is kind of having some problems, huh? But we do have an assassin over here. And it looks like our Thane is straight up losing in battle with Skrulk, which is not something I was expecting. They do have another assassin over on this side. It's a little inconvenient. Alright, definitely never stop chasing them. I'm not really sure what I want to do with this catapult. It's actually possibly the case that this catapult is a real danger to us. Should probably be careful with it. Let's shoot into the backsides of some of these units. More grenades and stuff going out. If you guys are going to throw grenades at those units, I should probably disengage the other melee troops. I mean, it's just not feasible for them to fight our troops at this range. They need to... I don't know what they need to do. Is it reasonable to try to out-artillery the dwarves with Skaven? I can't imagine how else you would fight them. A lot of dwarf warriors getting tied up by that one character. That seems to be under control. Yeah, honestly, I'm going to put this catapult in halt mode. I don't actually want it firing. The Thane is beating Skrulk. It's taken some time, but he's getting it. We have the organ guns firing on the Doom Wheel. I think they're about to break. I gotta say, those assassins are remarkably good at their jobs. Alright, so now the question is not, can we get peace from these Skaven, but rather, is there a benefit to continuing to fight them? Can we get something more from them beyond the one settlement we need in our mountain range? Because it's safe for us to go south now, right? The settlement garrison is in fine shape. They have walls. That blue Viper stack is not actually going to attack us. Probably not, because like all of the territory that Ungrim and Crag are about to cross, it's all very bad for us, and we don't have time to build it up into anything better. We're really just trying to hold the fort until we finish in the north.
My anger burns bright.
Okay, immune to swamp attrition. That's pretty cool. Dalid Steelbeard the Plague Lash. You earned yourself a cool name there. And we have Deadly Onslaught. Yes, Deadly Blade.
Vengeful Rune Lord.
I know Lord Skrulk is like a big deal and everything, but still it's embarrassing how long it took you to fight a guy who is basically an old, decrepit wizard. Alright, I'm going to go back into ambush mode here, actually. We need to replenish for a second, and there's another 20 stack down here that I don't really want to just run right into. If we could bait them into coming toward the capital, I think that would be the wise move. Okay, everybody else has done all of their stuff. And we still have a ton of money available. That's it? That can't be it. Hold on. Boy, it sure does seem like we don't really have anything important to build. There are upgrades we could make, but in most places we're just waiting on population. Oh, hey, look at this. Next turn. Next turn we'll be able to craft all of the talismans we want. And also... this can happen. There you go. That's some stuff we can do. Really focus on holding Erengrad, because it's making us a lot of money. Yeah, and there's not really any rhyme or reason to my upgrades here. Just trying to spend this gold in ways that will be useful. It doesn't have to be the most useful way, it just has to be a useful way.
Good. Grimnir's axe thirst.
Alright, so you are going to be back in full next turn. Yeah, we're in really good shape as far as clearing Norsca out of the north goes. So hopefully the Empire will take the hint and move that army to the west. And if they do that, honestly, like, if they take 1 or 2 settlements away from the Norskins, I don't see any reason why next episode couldn't be the last one, honestly. We're really looking at the end of this thing. Now, granted, there's still some possibility that some kind of wacky thing is going to happen with an old world force declaring war in a funny way, and then we end up, like, losing an important settlement somewhere or something, right? Somebody could declare war on us near Carrick Norn. Alright, Volkmar, show me that you have some intellect. Nope, he's just standing there. We'll fast forward in a second after the Empire turn. How about you? Oh, okay. He's headed toward the Bjornlings gathering, at least. Alright, so it seems like the Empire might help us a little. It also kind of seems like Kislev might be coming forward to help us a little. But as of right now, as far as I'm aware, the Norskins have no armies. They might have actually 0 military units at this moment. So they're going to have to start recruiting now. Here in the Doomkeep. What a terrible place to do it. So they're going to immediately lose that army on our next turn. Yeah, they're just never going to have a force. They have made some bad decisions here. If they'd started recruiting something over on this coast, they might well have been able to get like a reasonable number of units into that army. This is a position you two can fall into, so I guess it is worth noting. Like, it's tempting to recruit an army in a forward position where you think you can hold. Obviously, no player would have done a thing in Doomkeep there. I am defending against Clan Pestilence. Apparently, my ambush was not... it was not good. I did not ambush. Well, alright, let's defend against Clan Pestilence. What kind of effects do they have? They're in stalking stance, but we are not being ambushed. Okay, none of this stuff is actually relevant to what we're doing here. Alright, well, if we manage to defeat Shurft here with a reasonable amount of our force remaining, it'll be really, really easy to take back the Mine of Bearded Skulls. And it's a choke point battle in which they have no artillery. Oh, this is unfortunate for them. But yeah, what I was saying is obviously no player would have tried to recruit that army in Doomkeep, but you can fall into a lesser version of the same idea. Sometimes you have to be willing to lose some forward settlements in order to buy yourself time to make the real army that you need. So yeah, they have no flying troops and no artillery. So if they want to wipe us out, they have to actually come over these bottlenecks, and all of my reinforcements are coming in from behind at a time when all of my reinforcements coming in from behind is actually like super valuable. So basically, I'm really happy with the way this turned out. We probably... Right? Probably just do this. Just make them come to us. We have enough bodies to stretch over both of the bottlenecks with grenade launchers. And then we can have backup hammers in both places. And we just hammer them with the artillery as they approach. One hero here, one hero there. Alright, come and get us. And if they commit too hard on this side, then we wrap these guys around the back. And they're, of course, casting all their magic. That's something we pretty much just have to sit through. I don't really have a good solution to that. Most dwarf units, it hasn't been super relevant, but most dwarf units actually have innate magic resistance. Yeah, all you guys just get over here, and I will decide what to do with you once you have arrived. What I'm really waiting for is the catapults, which I will tell to position up here. Okay. Why did I set my artillery so far back? What was I thinking? Whatever. Ah, yes. Hey, not whatever. This is a good reason that was a bad idea. Could you guys... I had one plan, and then I changed my mind about what the plan was, and I forgot to move the artillery after doing that. Alright, so why don't you guys wheel forward? Hammers are coming. I mean, these are just clan rats. You can see the clan rats are already starting to die. As these guys get into range, they're going to start receiving grenades. They do have a little bit of Stormbringer. We have to watch out for that. Okay. Yep, I screwed up. For sure. These clan rats are actually already giving up. Like, wait a second, I am completely surrounded over here. They're breaking off just enough of their force that I don't think it's a good idea for us to try a wraparound maneuver here. This is probably fairly smart, although I think this force is kind of inconsequential for the job that it was given. I have a hard time lasting very long. Got the doom wheels into us already, which is probably... That's probably helping them, I guess. It's not a big move. Doom wheels are not good. That's pretty much all that is. Get in there, Anvil Man. Charge bonus up for the hammerers. Get on those storm vermin. Over here we have the globes. Now they do have 2 hell pit abominations. That's pretty bad. Really prevents us from approaching those globes in the way I would like. You know what I really wish I had here was is gyrocopters. That would have been nice. You guys are not in guard mode. Kill. You guys... Good enough. You did your job. I guess, actually, the catapult probably doesn't need to move that much further. Catapults are pretty close. You guys need to get back to your artillery. We have work for you. Try to get those Death Globe guys. This is weird. This long line of storm vermin. Alright. Speed and vigor, go forth and slay that hell pit abomination. Alright. Lots of grenades into people's backs.
Dwarf warriors! Shoot the wizards! Eyes of outshine! The clans unite! Thunderous!
These Thunderers are going to have a hard time getting a clean shot on anything over here, but we can commit them to firing over the heads of the melee over here.
For the High King! Dwarf warriors! Down! Yes, Lord!
Let's just throw a lot more bodies into the breach here against the storm vermin.
Take them down! Iron will!
Man, our Rune Lord is getting assassinated right now. He needs to probably back up. This whole front is turning into something of a mess, huh? A lot of these units are close to giving up, but it's going to be a hard time to get the storm vermin out of here. It takes forever to rout storm vermin. So the organ gun is kind of doing work. These guys... Someday they will be back on their machines. You guys are the official artillery protection squad. Actually, what are these two grudge throwers? Could probably be firing into the middle of the bombardiers. Yes, there's a version of this where we win this battle, but not by enough, right? And then aren't able to continue south. Oh, I hate this. Alright, you can't really chase him, unfortunately. They got all their magic. Okay. This thing is given up, and it has been surrendered for some time, and somehow still doing a really impressive amount of damage against that unit that it's engaged with. Alright, we need, apparently, some more help with these guys. The Hell Pit Abominations are doing a lot more damage than I thought they would. Like, I know they're scary. I know they're big, scary monsters. But even so... No, don't run forward. Kill that thing. Okay, my units are starting to recover a little bit in some places. Also, somehow their units are doing super well, despite the fact that Skaven traditionally give up at the drop of a hat. Okay, there it is. I was gonna say, we're doing so much morale damage. See, you got this chain give up effect, really letting some of them have it. But then a couple other units are very, very committed to this battle. Like, weirdly committed to this battle. We have managed to run off one of the Hell Pit Abominations, or run off. Dead. It's dead. I killed it dead. But we're having some other problems. Okay, so here we have a whole lot of melee troops who are cowards. Oh, believe you me, there's going to be a court-martialing or two. Those Deathglobe Bombardiers somehow are still up. We need to turn the organ guns on the other Hell Pit Abomination. Make sure that that thing actually dies. We have like a ton of ranged firing in. I don't know how to, I don't really know how to put any more pressure on these Skaven. Alright, those are just clan rats. This is a nice, easy win for us here. It's the storm vermin that are the problem. Well, the good news is that the Deathglobe Bombardiers are probably done doing their thing because they've all run out of Death Globes. Put that guy to an end. Okay, we're finally starting to get some real surrendering going on here. Yeah, that hurt more than I thought it was going to, that's for sure. So is this army in any condition to push south? Part of the problem is that we have no idea what the garrison to the south looks like. Part of the value of that hidden settlements thing. Skaven can, when they take over a settlement, spend a bunch of food to have the settlement immediately be level 3. So it's possible that they actually have constructed walls already, right? Because what, it takes 5 turns to do the wall construction? 2 for the level 2 garrison building, and then 3 for the level 3. So I think they took that from us more than 5 turns ago. So we cannot march down there with a totally shredded army, is my point. We gotta actually maybe wait for backup. Dulled Steelbeard is a campaigner, and most important, he didn't actually die during that battle. I thought there was a real chance that was going to happen. The Khemri are not stopping to fight the elves. They're hauling ass straight through. Really, we're all the way down to 42 with you, huh? Terrible. Terrible stuff. You can see they're all upset at Bretonnia, so we're taking a negative diplomatic modifier for the fact that we have treaties with Bretonnia. That kind of thing is building up in all of the factions all over the world. Distrust of people who once were friends due to who they are friends with now. Again,
you no doubt have a
all of our alliances have somewhat limited time remaining in them. That said, it looks like we might actually do an okay job of getting through the rest of our objectives before the world has a chance to fall apart on us. It also looks like the Wood Elves might actually be overwhelmed themselves. Maybe the combined Tillian and Bretonnian force has nothing to worry about after all. I'm not sure I've ever seen the Wood Elves get wiped out in a game. Oh no, not the single Varg agent. Oh, that's my bad. They actually have a ton of agents. Who would have thought? Oh. Apparently I'm in position to help defend the Estalians against this rebel army. I didn't intend to do that. You know what? Let's not manual this. We have places to be. This episode's 90 minutes long. Don't worry, you guys. I got you. That would have been a really, really trivial battle, too. Even given the length of the episode, I might have done that if it would have been an interesting battle. In fact, I almost certainly would have. But we are, pretty out of time here. So that's where it's going to have to stop for today. Dalid Steelbeard is in rough shape, but he does have to pursue here. We have to take this army out before it gets away. The Mine of the Bearded Skulls, we can at least scout it. We can figure out whether we want to attack. So we'll pursue that. Ungrim and Crag are in position to start running. Unfortunately, still probably several turns out from being functional as reinforcements here. But once they get here, I think this mountain range is locked up. So really, all that it is the battle against Norsca. This is everything that is left. Pack Ice Bay might fall to the Empire. Here's, I think, our plan for Pack Ice Bay is for it to be last. We'll give the Empire the chance to take it. So we'll have Thorgrim's army deal with this and then head up north, and we'll have these armies come up here and hollow out this part and like meet him up there. And if Pack Ice Bay is where the grand final climactic battle happens, then so be it. But maybe the Empire could contribute, just a tiny little bit. So anyway, that's going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. I think this has gone pretty well, as a whole. Come back next time to see if I make any fatal mistakes that ruin all of it. And we'll see you then.